who's going to take this match? I feel like there were so many lost opportunities. Both players shielding up and just going to be content with healing. Ooh, and a good jump to Vortex in. Reflex roll finally being chased down with the sweep, and Dungeon picks Predu up. And he's making that health differential look inconsequential at this point. Big axe stun, and red buff being popped by Predu. He's looking to make a comeback. Vortex, reflex roll. He's just got an animation cancel. CC is not a thing. Predu is saying, guess who the fire spinner is? It's me. I'm going to be the one doing the damage this time around. And I feel
exactly this time. And Predu going with Fury against Adamant on Dungeon. And, well, Fury this time reigning supreme, you could say. Just, you know, that little bit of extra damage. And, well, also partially because Dungeon, he used his Adamant not even to escape any kind of CC. He was actually not even close to Predu when he used it. And I believe the only thing he actually managed to dodge with it was the X throw. And then he was able to counter it with an aerial afterwards, which wasn't too bad. But, you know, I feel you could oftentimes do a little bit more with the Adamant.
And just the explosive damage you get for the red buff. I mean, at the end, Predu didn't even CC Dungeon. He was just like, oh, you're going to reflex roll? Well, typically you're going to want to chase that with some kind of CC, but I'm just going to chase that with animation canceling. I'm just going to run behind you, swing my axe crazy. And he does enough damage to end the game. Animation canceling into the fire spin.
And I feel both of them missed a lot of their chases on the reflex roll. A lot of them, especially Predu, right at the start, he missed his charge after the roll. And that is a very long cooldown to lose onto such a mistiming that really shouldn't happen.
You know, maybe that's Predu's response to the last match he played against Empathy, where he was upset that he lost because he didn't actually animation cancel into the days. So this time he's like, doesn't matter, I'm just going to animation cancel no matter what. Dungeon getting the opener. Charge stun into a little bit of animation canceling, but he gets counterattacked, and Predu is looking to put on pressure. Both players using their invul. I think it procced on Dungeon, and he does get the knock-up into the air combo. There's the shield stun. This could be a chance for big damage, but I don't think he had enough chi. Gonna put Predu into the grab, drops him into the earthquake. Blue buff being spent by Predu. They're playing red-blue right now. Animation canceling coming through on fire spin from Predu. Dungeon down to below half health. He's at 40%, and they're both fire spinning at each other. Oh my god, they didn't even care. They just kept spinning. Truly a moment for Beyblade's fans to rejoice. Dungeon putting Predu up into the grab, does the earthquake. Tab being spent by Predu. The pool is gonna reel him in. Reflex roll not being punished, but tab by Dungeon is gonna put him into the daze, and then the axe crit is gonna close it out. This time Dungeon is the victor. Perhaps the blue buff is the bad omen. The blue buff is a curse to decide who loses this match. Because that time Predu utilized it. He tried to get damage off of it, but ended up losing.
Yeah, he did utilize it pretty well. He did manage to break the CC and get a lot of counter damage onto Dungeon at that point. But it wasn't quite enough. Dungeon just getting more CC. He got multiple grabs, whereas Predu just didn't. And yeah, Predu being able to... Dungeon being able to finish it off with that.
Yeah.
And we also saw the double red spin that we were waiting for quite a while.
And they held it for so long. It's like a game of chicken.
Yeah.
Like one destroyer starts spinning, the second destroyer starts spinning, and they're like, well, let's just leave it to the RNG Chris to decide who's gonna win this trade. And they're just gonna keep spinning at each other until like the last moment.
Yep.
And whoever breaks off the spin first, he's the he may not be the loser of the match, but he's a loser in the match of pride.
For sure, yeah.
God, what are we watching, man?
And also in between the matches, Dungeon seems to be using his immunity, the C skill, a lot better. Dodging stuff with it and then getting the knock up afterwards. That's very important. A lot of damage from that.
It's really been working out for him. We saw how much of a difference it made for him in that last match. Let's see if Dungeon can repeat that performance here. 1-1 are these two players. And there we see Dungeon getting the proc into the air combo. Slow get up for Predu, but gets interrupted. That's going to earn Dungeon the grab into the knee. Chases down with the shield. I wonder why he backed away. Maybe expecting the tab, but this time it's going to come out, and Predu chases down. And now it's time for Dungeon to make the plays. And perhaps Predu is holding the red buff, and that's why he didn't pop it at that point in time. Blue buff for Dungeon, and he's going to get an animation cancel out of it. Oh my god, and he gets the air combo. Here's the finisher. Predu is nearly dead. Fire spin, and Dungeon might actually win it off this fire spin. He tries to go for the charge stun, but doesn't quite get it. Pool being immune by the flame wheel, and like we said, Dungeon has been so on point with that. But Predu finds some way back into this game. He's taking a lot of chipping damage. Oh my god, he got the air combo, and I thought that might have been his time. But Dungeon just put a stop to all of that nonsense.
Yeah, Predu definitely not able to answer the red spin there. He was way too low, so trading there would have definitely resulted in his loss. And once again, I feel like Donjon being a little bit better with using his immunity into the follow-up knock-up, gaining a lot of momentum from that, a lot of damage, and yeah, it's slightly in favor of Donjon right now, but it's definitely can still go either way.
I feel like from the start of the match, Dungeon has just slowly... He's like this small snowball that started... Oh, by the way, our cast is Christmas-oriented today because it's nearly that time of the year, but Dungeon is that small, tiny little speck of snow at the top of the mountain, and then it's just started to roll down the mountain, and as it goes, it just gets a little bit bigger, and the momentum keeps building. It keeps getting bigger, and now, I mean, he's starting to look a little bit scary. I mean, the amount of time, like, he won by quite a large margin in that last match. He's getting just stronger and stronger and stronger, and his use of the flame wheel has been getting better. We talked about it before the match started, but he had some very fantastic use of that. And then his blue buff was at the perfect time. He got good effectiveness out of that. And Dungeon just looked commanding in that match. Let's see if Predu can bring it back. But the snowball may have gotten too big. Opening is Dungeon. A little bit of animation canceling, but gets tabbed out. Reflex rolled. Got punished a little bit by Predu, but in the end, Dungeon is going to come out on top. Knockdown. Gets countered. Another cross counter from Dungeon. Here's the shield stun. He tries to go for damage. Doesn't quite get a lot. Predu with the flame wheel. Doesn't proc. Dungeon being patient. Fire spin by Predu. He's trying to keep the flame alive. But he just gets pulled in. Reflex roll being chased down by the charge. And this could be a big opportunity for Dungeon. Gets a knee. Pulls him up into the grab. He's going to build back some chi with this. And what's the answer afterwards? Jumps and gets the tab out of Predu. Chases down the reflex roll with the charge. Does Predu. Dungeon tries to go for the knockdown, but here comes some big damage from Predu. Dungeon doesn't care. Pops the blue buff and puts Predu into the air. And now he's just going to start spinning. Parry stun from Predu is going to put Dungeon in an awkward position, but still not in danger of losing. Dungeon has built himself such a large life lead, chases down the reflex roll, and this is the end. Shield stun into the finisher. And I don't know, man. I feel like the snowball is too big at this point. Yep. Dungeon has so much momentum on his side, it seems like there's nothing Predu can do.
And so far, Dungeon has won every single opening. There has not been a single time where Predu has not been CC'd straight from the start, and then Dungeon being able to capitalize on that. So Dungeon just winning every single opening and then just never letting go with the pressure, and Predu just always being behind. And right now he's actually still being on Fury, on the red pill. And
yeah,
if he's behind and if he's always stunned, then the Fury is not going to do anything good for him. And he just can't get enough CC to get out the tab and maybe even the adamant from Dungeon to, you know, pop his Fury and actually do damage with it. So it might be a good choice to go back to the blue pill, to the adamant.
Just to double check, the third, fourth place is best of 5. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Alright, currently the scoreline is 1-0 in favor of Dungeon.
Exactly.
And he's one round up.
Yep. Oh, 1 round, yeah.
It's 1 round up. Dungeon has been building a lot of momentum. He's won 3 in a row so far. I have to wonder if Predu's going to change out of that red buff. He's been trying to get those stuns in, and what was really successful about it in the first round was that he got a lot of free damage off of it before Dungeon could even react. But in these last few games, he just hasn't had that opportunity arise. Earthquake, reflex roll being spent, Predu trying to do something, but Dungeon uses that invul frame very well. Reflex roll being chased down. I don't think the timing was quite right, but he got the stun anyways. Predu's going to put Dungeon into the grab. Spinning around, trying to cancel out any counterattack options. Puts Dungeon on the floor. The knockdown, reflex roll from Predu 2. Same actions. And Dungeon's going to jump in and get the daze. Gonna get a grab off of it, building up chi. Drops Predu into the charge stun, and Predu immediately tabs out. Another use of the invul, but not gonna catch anything this time, and Dungeon's not gonna get the knock-up off of it. A pool? Ooh, and the chase down was just a little bit too fast. I believe that is blue buff being popped on Predu. Dungeon is gonna be happy with that situation, I believe. Gonna get away free. Blue buff now down for Predu. And Dungeon looking quite comfortable. Just gonna cut away and wait for cooldowns. Out of combat is Predu, actually, so he has a chance to get a good opener here. Dungeon gonna use his invul in perfect use. He has a knockup, I believe. Jumps in, gets the daze. Predu doesn't answer with a reflex roll. Dungeon does, and he gets chased down for it. He gets need. Into the grab. And Predu needs to find some way to do more damage than what he's been doing in the past. Goes for the big axe hit, but because he didn't have red buff, it didn't do too much damage. And now it's Dungeon's chance. Go for the jump. Reflex roll is available. He opts not to do it. Here's a shield stun. More damage from Dungeon and Predu. At 25% health, they're just grabbing each other. They're just groping each other. What am I watching? Blue buff being spent by Dungeon. Likewise for Predu, and both of these destroyers are just going toe-to-toe right now. Fire spin being activated by Dungeon. And is Predu going to respond in kind? He's just going to go ahead and use the pool. Again, he misses the chase down because he used it too early. A reflex roll by Predu, not chased down by Dungeon. I think he tried with a sweep, but he missed. This match has been so back and forth right now. Predu is really fighting hard. Should have put himself back on the scoreboard. Dungeon's going to waste his invul on just about nothing. And again, they find themselves in a situation where they're backed away. Predu gets vortexed. He's going to respawn with a knee. And he's not going to get the chase down, and Dungeon does it beautifully, puts him into the air, and a good shield stun, and that's going to be the end of the match.
And it really seems like Predu being maybe a little bit nervous. He is missing too many of his chases. I believe he didn't even get a single chase off the reflex roll. And yeah, just that really costs him the game. It is just, yeah, you really need to get those. Especially if you use your charge stun. It is such a long cooldown, and losing that onto using it too early on a chase, that is really costly. And yeah, maybe it's nerves right now, maybe it's, I don't know, something else, but you really gotta hit those chases.
Yeah, Dungeon is really making it apparent that he's very comfortable in this Destroyer v Destroyer matchup, and it was a lot less dominant for the last round. I mean, it really felt like Dungeon had a little bit more trouble than he did in the previous 3 wins. But still, the results speak for themselves. 4 wins in a row now for Dungeon. He's looking to win 2 more to take 3rd place in the 2nd Imperial EU tournament.
Yeah, so far, Dungeon definitely. He gets his chases, and he gets the damage, the follow-up from it. So, yeah, right now, definitely the upper hand. Keeping his cool there.
Yeah. And Predu has swapped away to the blue buff now, so he's given up on his aggressive strategy.
I wouldn't say that too early. Maybe he's swapping around again. He liked to swap around a lot so far, so we'll see.
Does enjoy the red-blue. We do see that a lot with destroyers. Let's see what he can do. Dungeon looking for another opening here. Gets the earthquake, but invuled by the flaming wheel. Dungeon following in kind. He's gonna get the charge stun and just gonna animation cancel. He uses a shield stun also, and finally Predu is gonna opt to use his tab. Dungeon likewise grabs up Predu. He's gonna put the ground AoE down into the air combo, and Predu just uses a slow get up, and that is free. Daze with the knee. Blue buff finally being spent by Predu, so he's only gonna have tab now. But fire spin to respawn by Dungeon, and he actually gets the air combo follow up. Dungeon uses iframe, but nothing procced. And that's a big advantage for Dungeon. He charges in and gets the grab on the shield. Dungeon jumping in to get the daze. Reflex roll. Not being chased down. He does get the sweep. Tab being spent by Predu. And this is a bad situation for Predu. If Dungeon finds another opener, it could mean the end of the match. There's a tab. Daze being spent. No reflex roll. And there's a shield stun. There's another chase and a pull, and this could be the end. He's going to go for the animation cancel into the grab, and this could end it. This could end it. He's going to choke, and he closes it out with the axe swing.
Yep. So that is match point for Donjon. He's just one match away so far, being pretty dominant in this Destroyer, in this mirror matchup. Definitely